Mon, are there any lines of code we can search for in smart contracts that would be red flags, or is it impossible for non-site people? That's a great question. Something I haven't directly engaged with yet, because it is sort of, I've been doing my own research, and again, on the blog, malicious smart contracts and the bridge on free claims, those can give you some hints, but again, you kind of got to be a developer. You got to read some code in order to look for red flags. I mean, if you go so I'm gonna go to the malicious smart contracts one. There's maybe something that could be interesting here that, non-technical people, or non-coders, I should say, I don't want to insult your intelligence, can kind of look for. Now, the honeypot deal, honeypot is it can mean different things in different contexts, but in this context, for example, it's actually people they're trying to hack a smart contract because they think they found a bug. So this probably doesn't apply to most people, because most people aren't trying to hack smart contracts, although apparently there's a lot of people who are. They do like a trick here, and you can go to the blog and stuff. I have all these references, and there's a tool, actually a conference person wrote a tool to detect some of these things, where you can see that they do some tricky language around the function calls and stuff to try and get you to exploit the contract, but it actually just takes your money and stuff. So you can read more about it on the malicious smart contracts side. So that's one. I would say the front runner bot is something Richard talked about recently. That's an interesting one, because there's, I think the video is on YouTube. So there was one on YouTube, and then this one, is actually still one available. It's still on YouTube, even though I'm sure they deleted all the people that yelled scam at it. But it touts itself as a regular tutorial. I mean, it's got a really good voice person. I don't know if they hired somebody or if that's actually the person or not. It'd be funny if he was just like really, really well spoken. And it runs you through, and you get 5 minutes in, and it's like, hey, now you need to fund the front runner bot. And basically, you just send your ETH to the address. So in the code, you can look at the code. There's some references to, I think it's still, some of it's still in pastebin, some of it's changed, but some of the things, I would just be very suspicious of some of the addresses in there. If there's an address, it's like, if they start hard coding addresses of things, that kind of gets suspicious. Some smart contracts do that because, they need manager functions or something. They need you actually, for sacrifice stuff, you need, there is some OA, there's some address that holds coins or whatever. But if you're looking at something that doesn't say there's any of that going on, but then you see some of these addresses in the code and you don't know what those addresses are doing, if you can't read the code, it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, look at the receiving and sending addresses and some of the technical functions that these things are made of. But I would just say, if the project is telling you that there is no person benefiting, or there is no whatever going on, and then you see like some references to different hard-coded addresses and different on this one, for example, if you look at the screen, the import of IPFS, that was immediately suspicious to me, just because I'm like, so they're importing some code or some function or something from another resource on IPFS, which could be anything. So to me, that immediately makes me think, what are they trying to hide? Like, they're importing something, a lot of times you import stuff, it's from external sources, or if it's from some other file or things, generally in programming. And that means it's in the other file. And immediately that makes me suspicious here, because it looks like they're trying to put trying to put a reference to something and run some code or run some whatever here that they don't want to show you. So that distracts me as the first thing when I saw the video. I was like, oh, that looks suspicious, because they're referencing some IPFS URL. So that's something. But again, it's kind of hard if you don't know what the code, if you don't know how to read code, it's kind of hard to look at the code to look for red flags. But that's what I'll say on that one. Good question.